everybody, so this is not my normal video and I'm nervous. Recently I let a bunch of people know that like something I do on the side just for fun for myself is I do just random little bouquets like this. This is for me, for Ostara, for the spring equinox. I just went to the store, I went to the grocery store, and at Jewel Osco they had a 3 for $12 market bunch. Is that the right word? Market bundle sale? So these are 3 for $12. That's what I did for my Valentine's Day one. I will insert a picture somewhere. And it turned out pretty good. I got like 2 little bouquets out of it. So I had shared that and a lot of people showed interest. So I figured why not just kind of show you what I do. I am certified in floral design. It has been about 1.5 years and I have just started using that knowledge again. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I do still sort of remember a lot of the stuff, and I actually want to go back and hopefully try and like relearn some of it so I can do more of these videos if you guys so wish to see them. And I personally just love doing it. It's fun for me, it's cheap. I mean, the bouquets I get out of these are easily could be priced at a floral design shop for $36 or more. That's just from what I've seen across the board, and I made it for $12. So if this is something that you want in your home every few weeks and you want to do for a decent amount of money, if you can find a sale on flowers, it's not hard to make a really decent looking bouquet with just 3 different kinds of flowers. That's what I usually try and go for. I don't try to spend more than like $15 on flowers. These are just the 3 that I got. These actually opened up. I got these about 3 days ago and I just kept them in cool water in a bucket because I ran out of time and I couldn't actually get to them right away. So I just have them in like this bucket that I found, and they're just in a little bit of water and they have stayed alive, and these have actually opened up since I bought them. I chose these because 1, 3 different colors, 2, it was what I had. They were pretty like sparse whenever I went to the store. So I just have some like really pretty light purple daisies. I don't know the flower names, so if you're looking for technical names, I'm sorry. Then I just have these white ones. They kind of remind me of dahlias, but I don't think they're actually dahlias. And then these are apparently Alstroemeria Senna. Alstroemeria. That's what these yellow ones are. They're like little bitty lily looking flowers. I am obviously not an expert when it comes to flower names. I tried to learn them even in my certificate course and I just could not. The long names I couldn't do. I usually just have 2 vases on hand, but I have a whole wall of glass jars over there. Jars are amazing for this kind of stuff, especially if you want to do little bouquets for friends. This one was from work actually. They gave us a little like employee appreciation kind of thing last year. This just had a few carnations in it. I kept it. And then this one I actually borrowed from a old co-worker who also used to do floral design stuff full time. She told me to just keep it and she got it at Goodwill. So you can find vases and stuff anywhere. Basically how I start is 1, buy the flowers, step 1. Step 2, I bring them home. I make sure my sink is clean and I just take all of the plastic stuff off and I put it into my sink and I just kind of like spread them out a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I didn't realize that these actually said the names on the tags. So these just say that they are lavender daisy pomps, whatever that means. These are white button palms, and then these are Alstroemeria bunches. So in case you want to know what the store called them, that is straight from the tag on the plastic. So just get rid of this. So basically what my next step is, once they are all in here, I then have to prep them. So this is something that was a big thing that we learned how to do in my floral design course. So basically what we do is just cut them down and make sure that, I mean, obviously these are a little long to be in this little bitty vase. So basically we just cut them down to size and then we strip away any extra greens that we don't want, because you want your flowers to grow as much as possible. So these extra greens and stuff are just going to take away from the flowers actually staying alive and growing. So any extra leaves and green that we don't need, we're going to strip off of those and just kind of get these prepped and ready to be designed and put together in our vase. So that is what the next step is, and that is what I will do now. Okay, different angle here, but basically all I'm using are just these Fiskars garden clippers. I just make sure that they were clean, and I always make sure after I do these that I clean them every single time. Yeah, you just take them and cut at an angle. So usually, this is hard to kind of show, but usually I just kind of figure out how I want them to sit in my vase and then just kind of eyeball it from there. I usually cut a little longer than I would like, just because I don't, you can always cut more off, you can't add more. So just cut at an angle, and ta-da, you have your prepped up flower. Again, just get rid of these, because if they're going to be inside the vase, you're not going to need them anyway. And I just try to put all the scraps either on one side or the other, but since I have the bucket today, I'm just going to put all my scraps in there. And then I just kind of go around my sink, and I will just keep going in that fashion just so I have enough room to see everything, and then also just keep it all in order so I know what I've cut, what I haven't, and what I still have to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and go time lapse again and get all these prepped and ready to go. Alrighty, and this is what my sink looks like afterward. All of my extra stems are in here, and then I just have all of my cut flowers here. And again, I kept them a little longer just so whenever I try to put them in my main vase or jar that I can always just cut off what I need rather than scrambling because I made them all too short. So this is just what they look like now. And you might have noticed, oh, which one was it? There was one of these that I accidentally ripped off of the stem, and that's perfectly fine. Most of the time, especially with smaller flowers like this, I will not keep them all in the bunch unless I want them to. I will sometimes just take one of these lower ones, strip it off, and then put it in like a lower spot here. So now that I have these already, I'm going to go ahead and start trying to figure out what my bouquet will look like. There are obviously a bunch of different ways that you can do a bouquet. The last one I did was a pretty round, shape. This one, I'm going to try and do one where it's more of like a front-facing one, where it's tall in the front and shorter in the back, and kind of have some movement going on there. So that is what I'm going to try and do with mine. There are obviously a bunch of different ways. You can do asymmetrical, you can do a bunch of different bouquet styles that I currently cannot remember, but I will try and leave resources somewhere that you can look and see like what you might want to do. But honestly, I think flowers are a little hard to mess up. Obviously, if you're being technical like I am, you can do it a certain way, but flowers are pretty no matter what, in my opinion. So as long as you're happy with how it looks, I think that's fine for your own home. If I was selling it, that's a different story, but I'm not too worried about the ones that I just do for home, just because it's for home. So yeah, but usually I have 2 vases just because I usually have leftover. And if I don't know anybody who could use some flowers at the time, I just have 2 vases of flowers that I just put somewhere. These are probably going to go on my breakfast bar instead of in my living room this time, so I'm excited to see how it turns out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with designing mine, and I will stop along the way if I have anything to share. So how I usually start mine out is I find like the highest point. So even when I'm doing the rounder bouquet, I'm always finding like the highest middle point. So I think I'm gonna have one of these. These are so pretty. I didn't really give you an up close shot of the flowers, but these are what these look like. Just really pretty, like little lily looking things. And I'm just gonna find like the highest point. And I actually kind of like that length, or that, you know, that height. I put some flower food in this. I'm trying to like get it to dissolve. but I kind of actually like how, like that height, so I might keep it. I might trim it down a little bit. Let's trim it down just a little bit. Again, cutting at an angle, it just gels with the plant more. And again, I'm sure there's a lot of important information I'm missing that's technical. I'm just going for, you want a bouquet at home, here's what I do, okay? Another thing I look for whenever I'm looking at flowers is the last one I did for Valentine's Day really didn't have a lot of green, and I really like breaking up the flowers with green. That's a big reason why I chose these, because they do have a lot of green leaves, where these, as far as like the daisies and the palms, do not. So that is a big reason why I chose these. These would not normally be my first pick, just because I was looking for more of like a pastel yellow rather than like a brighter yellow like this, but I'm not mad about it either. So, and the more you do it, the more you learn, the more you figure out what you like. I personally like a lot of green, but there weren't just greens I could buy, so I was looking for a flower that came with it, like these. So that is just personally what I do. And I like to put in the colors and then add lighters. So for example, I will add these two colors first and then add in the white and then just kind of go back and forth from there. That's personally how I do it. My brain doesn't work like most people's, I feel like. So, you know, you just kind of feel it out and do whatever is good for you. And how I usually measure is I just stick it up right next to it. And then I especially will put it like next to a countertop and kind of like gauge where I want the flower to sit, so I know where about to cut at. So that just lets me know where I should cut the stem at, so it will sit better right where I want it, right when I put it in there. So that's personally what I do. Uh-oh, that one broke off. Sad face. Obviously the course I took was a lot of, oh, you want to make sure it looks good from all angles kind of thing. But when I'm just doing it at home, I will still practice those things, but I'm not going to exactly like pretend like I'm gonna sell this. Like, I don't really 100% care what it, you know, if it looks like it should be selling worthy or not. But that's just me. It's just for my house. I got it for cheap. I don't care a whole heck of a lot. So this is like what it's looking like right now. I got my tallest point up here, and again, the tallest point can change if I choose that I want a daisy up here instead, or I want one of the white ones up here instead. I can still make that change, but again, I'm just going with the color first, adding lights, and then just kind of going back and forth from there. I don't remember the technical term, but I know it's like it's higher up here and it goes further and it goes shorter down here, and that's just kind of how you look at it. You don't really look at it from the back, you look at it from the front. That was actually my favorite one to do every time we got like a freestyle bouquet that we got to do in my class. That was my favorite one. That was like my favorite style of bouquet to do, because to me as an artist, that's how I work. I start in the back and I go forward, kind of like a Bob Ross painting, you know what I mean? And again, with these little bunches, with these little flowers, what I did with the last one, I had some purple ones that were similar to this, except they were daisies. I would sometimes, if they had a long enough stem, just take these off individually and stick them where I wanted more white. For some reason, these are filling up a lot faster, so I might have a couple bouquets today. I'm not entirely sure, but we're gonna see what happens. Color blocking is another way that you can, ew, I don't like that. Color blocking is another thing you can do with these, just for a style of how you would do these. Again, not everyone's cup of tea, but that I just know that that is what my professor preferred doing. He really liked the color block look, where you would have a block of color, block of color, block of color. That's not my thing, but I think it does work depending on who does it. It's just when I do it, not so much. And you could even do that with these daisies too. If you didn't want like a full bunch somewhere, you could tear it apart and just add where you wanted it. But I mean, I think this already looks pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. We're gonna go shorter with this one. I'll go about right there. Again, I'm no expert. This is just me being a Joe Schmo who took a floral design course, got certified, and hasn't used it in a year and a half. So we're just trying to have fun here, alright? We're just trying to have fun. Aw, I just did that on accident. This is a disaster. I know this is hard to see because you're not seeing it like full front here, but that is what it's looking like so far. Not too shabby considering, again, we spent $12. And I don't remember if I explained this or not, but taking off these little leaves and stuff is going to help your flower stay alive longer, because all the energy that the flower is putting off will be going up into keeping the flower alive rather than all these little leaves that you won't see. And plus, it helps you add more to the base because you don't have a bunch of just random leaves in there. Sometimes your ideas will work and sometimes they just won't fit. This base is currently telling me it's full. But sometimes you just gotta do the shimmy. Just get it all to work out, you know? Do as I say. Another good part about having extra greens is that sometimes with this style of bouquet, I would have like big leaves that kind of like were the background to it, so that always made it look good, but I'm kind of trying to work with these yellow flowers. But this is what I have so far. It's not too bad. Obviously the back is not anything to look at, but so far it's not too bad. These are a little long, so I think I might trim this one in the back a little bit, but I could also just try adding some other stuff and see how that works. But these ones that fall off are really good for like down along the vase here as well, because this one is, I mean, it's a little bud. It might open, it might not, but especially for these little ones that pop off, it's nice to just add them a little down there. Again, it's like another little just level of depth to your little bouquet. And even some of these like little lily ones I can put down here as well. And put one of these little ones right down here. Add a little pop of yellow down here. I was also, if I'm being honest, I wasn't super jazzed about the color choices I had. I was kind of doing like, have you ever seen those 3 marker challenges on YouTube? And they have like 3 colors that they like blindly choose. I used to do them. They're so much fun, but they're also a pain, especially if you get really bad colors, because you have to try and like make something out of it. That's kind of what I'm doing today. This is probably not the best thing to start out with, but you know, it's fun when there's a challenge. This is basically what my finished one looks like, and it was just me just sticking flowers in there. I have my higher ups up here, and it just goes down here, and it has movement with the light going this way. So that is how my brain works with bouquets, but I still have a bunch of leftover flowers, so I might actually try and do another one, and I might give it to my mom or something. So I'm gonna grab a jar. Okay, so this is a jar I found. It still has a little bit of a label on it, but we'll just put that in the back. This one, I'm not gonna do that kind of thing with. I'm just going to kind of do like a little round one with. So we'll be cutting a lot of stem off with these, but that's okay. Again, just choosing the highest point. Let's have the highest point be this one this time. Let's see how that works. And hopefully this little commentary is okay. I was originally going to do time lapse, and then I just started recording and I panicked. Okay, so that will be my highest point. You guys see it? There. So that will be my highest point with my little round one here. And that might even shrink, I'm not sure. We will see what happens. It's gonna look sad at first. Like, they're not all gonna stand up at first, just so you know. Because I always used to get so discouraged whenever I would see like, oh, my flowers are going, like, it's okay. It's fine. This is actually, I haven't done one this small before. With the round ones, spinning it is always a good idea, and that will help the unifying, I guess, having it look unified all the way around. So I don't know, for me it's relaxed. I think it's very fun. It's affordable. These were the same price as, and even cheaper actually, than a kit at Hobby Lobby. So depending on what you want to spend your money on, you know, it could go either way. This is kind of not looking how I want, but that's okay. We're gonna work with it. And this is where these come in handy, because instead of putting this entire thing in, I'm gonna actually rip these apart and use them as mini bunches. So that is where these little, especially ones that especially start growing down here, you can, like, you know, just peel them off like that and stick them wherever you need a little bit of sparkle. That is what the end actually has to go in the jar though. And these can be really good with, like, kind of pushing other flowers up, especially if they're a sturdier stem. Okay, I fiddled around with it. This is what we got. It's not the best, I don't think, but you know, they're all really mixed up. It's nice, kind of a round shape. I was working with leftovers. I had one stem of each left, so that's kind of, you know, that's just kind of the beauty of it. You can kind of just, you know, make it work however. You can get 2 different levels of bouquets. I really think it's a fun pastime, and I think it's really super duper fun. And plus, if you have a bucket, it's easy cleanup. Before, I had just used my sink and it was a nightmare. So yeah, these are my 2 bouquets I made, this one and this one. And I don't know, I think they look pretty springy and pretty cool. So I hope you enjoyed. This was a little out of my comfort zone, so I was a little nervous throughout the video. Hopefully it was fun to watch. It was somewhat educational. Maybe you learned something. Maybe it gave you inspiration to try your own. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I can do more flower videos, because I really like flowers, and especially with spring and summertime coming up, I really like them. If there are any colors that you want me to try, go ahead and leave those down below, and I will try my best to find them for as cheap as I can. Yeah, if you try to make your own bouquets at home, send me a picture and show me what you came up with, and I will see you guys hopefully in another video. Bye!